Hello, everybody. I'm just not gonna look because it's scary. Or not, 'cause, like, I'm gorgeous. So, um, okay. So I don't know. I just wanted to talk about like this is kind of a mid-study session stream of consciousness as to um, why I chose or like why I think I'm so drawn towards like MBTI and stuff. um or like it's like my story of the progression of how wow, this is making me more conscious than I thought it would. Yeah, so just basically why it is that I am kind of drawn to the OP system versus all the other systems. So I guess it all started back in the day. uh oh, also take note, I'm on my ADHD meds, so fun stuff. So I may be more I don't think so. I always say monotonous, but anyway. Also, my hair looks blue. I colored it a while ago, so. All right, no, but for real, how I got into MBTI and stuff is essentially just years ago, 2 years ago, maybe slightly more, 2.5 years ago. My friend introduced me to MBTI. I was like, yo, cool, awesome. I first got INFP. I was like, yeah, I kind of resonate. I like it. I got emotional about it. I usually don't say this, but I feel like I, as an individual, often feel very lost in like who I am as myself, like what my, which is essentially the driving factor of like why I got so inclined into this sphere or this realm, which I don't want to assume, but I think most people would get inclined towards this sphere or realm just to kind of who they are as well. Why they pursue it would be different motivations. But anyway, how it started was that my friend introduced me to MBTI at the time. I don't think I realized, but I was feeling very lost in like who I was as a person or as an individual. And I feel like I was always trying to be someone, but like I didn't know what exactly I was trying to be. So I would just, but it was even more hard. It was hard to quantify or describe because when you don't have like these types per se, it's somewhat difficult to say who you are, to understand yourself, and and I didn't know who it was. Obviously, I've said this like a billion times now. But yeah, so the reason that I got into it was what I assume is that I was feeling lost at the time, and I think I still do. I have, I guess, an identity crisis, you could say. Who am I? What do I value? What do I want to value? I have like loads and loads and loads of journals, just like trying. I think it starts with like, and I think MBTI, at least for me, MBTI or like the OP system or socionics, like everything that I've studied so far in terms of this surrounding atmosphere of knowledge, it just seems so. It seems more like self-growth to me than it does as identifying yourself as a certain individual. First, I think it started with that unhealthy mechanism of like, I'm simply this type and like take it or leave it. And and I did that when I thought I was an INTP. I to a certain extent was like, yeah, this is who I am and you have to deal with it. But even when I was an INTP, I was like, okay, I mean, not that I was an INTP, like even when I thought that I was an INTP, I would constantly keep questioning it, which is obviously why I was like, okay, am I still an INTP or am I not? Like maybe I just know myself wrong. And that could be a very like, maybe I was doing it because I don't know, just dissatisfied with like, okay, so I think what it was essentially was that I was trying to I would go to these things that were external and see that if I could be this way, then then I would be a certain type of person. It's like it wasn't me trying to internally change anything, because I was, and I still am to a very large extent, dissatisfied with who I am as an individual. Like, there are things that I want to do constantly, and I keep feeling like I'm failing all the time. But I wouldn't know because I don't do the SI data gathering and stuff. Um, ooh, okay, yeah, but I don't know because I don't do like the SI stuff. So what it was essentially for me was that, like, I would go to these things externally, and I would really, really try to find something that I'm like, and I was like, yeah, that's me. And for some reason I thought, like, if I knew that I am a certain way, like, things would fix itself. Like, I wouldn't have to actively pursue something or do something in order to fix the issues that I have with myself. And first of all, realizing that that was a thing. Like, there was this one book that I read. I can't remember the name of the book. Change When Change is Hard. And yeah, that was the name of the book, How to Change When Change is Hard. And one of the quotes in that book that really hit me hard, I don't know, I read this like a year ago, and it still stuck, or like 6 months ago, and it still stuck to me, or like 10 months ago, and it still stuck to me, which was just that knowing is not equal to change. And I was like, it was like I kind of was intuitively understanding that, but I needed someone to, like, or like I needed to hear it, or I needed to read it from something that was outside of me. Just because I think, like, I couldn't quantify that. I knew the idea, and once I understood that, it didn't change my. I was still the way that I am, not the way that I am. I've obviously grown as a person, but like, I think just realizing that in itself was one step closer to change, rather than like zero or like none, not changing at all. So I am completely deviated from the point. But yeah, so I started off with like the whole 16 personality thing, and then my friend comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, dude, you're sure you're like this certain type, but like, are you saying there are only 16 types in this entire world? And like, are there only 16 kinds of people? Because like everybody's so different." And for me, that was kind of like a nature versus nurture question, because it was like, oh, people can be a certain type, and they can have like the like they can have a sense of a certain type, but they don't necessarily have to emulate exactly the same as the stereotype, because types are types. Like, no individual is going to be exactly the same, but because no individual has the exact same upbringing, even if it's like twins, which in this case they were twins. If you see like a couple of videos back, they were in one of the videos. I miss them. Anyway. But yeah, and that kind of got me thinking, and I was like, maybe there's more to types than just, these things. And I would watch videos of like INTPs. There was this one INTP who I absolutely fell in love with. His channel name's Tenacity Rast, and he, I guess, inspired me to start my own channel. And then there was Talking with Famous People had on this one person who was also an INTP, and I would watch a lot of these videos, and I realized that I would look up to these people rather than it didn't feel as an equal relationship, because I feel like when you see someone of your own type, you're like, okay, I get this person for sure, like, they're my type, I understand them. But like, in this case, I felt like, it felt more like I was looking up to them, and I was like, okay, I really admire them, but like, it was more internal, and I couldn't tell that that's what it. Yeah. I'm live. Um, but yeah, I I couldn't tell that it was. See, that kind of made me nervous. I'm shaking, but I couldn't tell that that is who. That was more of something that I was looking up to rather than some something someone who I was. And then also like the lack. I guess like TI is known for its lack of empathy. Hi, what? Anyway, um, so completely lost my trail of thought. Yeah, so essentially, I literally forgot what I was saying. Oh well. Um. Oh yeah. So I was looking up to these people more than uh more than actually feeling like I was one of them, which is why I like also questioned how. Yeah. So I was looking up to these people more than actually understanding if I was like questioning them. What? I was looking up to these people and I didn't I like I could kind of relate but I couldn't really um and I really wanted to be like them so I would emulate them in my real life um which not gonna lie it pissed off I think it pissed off a couple of my friends um and like it was a very like I remember I don't think my INFP friend remembers but I remember being like criticize me tell me what you think about me and tell me like where you think I'm going wrong so I can like make myself better as an individual. And and she's like, I really don't hate all that much about you. And I was like, I know, right? I'm so awesome. But also she just said she was just like, you know what? And then I really had to like pry and then she was like, okay, I'll tell you something that I don't like is that I feel like you're very cocky sometimes. Um, and honestly, like I don't think she realized that, but I changed after that because I was like, okay, I don't want to come off as like that asshole who's too cocky. I just wanna, I just wanna be me. I'm like, and I realized that I was using the cockiness or the TI perception of myself to really just like combat my inner or like the fact that I like being there for people or the fact that I like to I am an emotional person and I for a long time I did not let myself like be emotional in front of other people. I think a lot of that would have to do with like the fact that the surroundings that I was in and it was like I'm not like I can't be like I'm allowed to be emotional because he was working hard and my mom was in a different country. So I was like I can't be emotional because like I felt like I was holding up the family together in a way, which I probably was not. But like, here I am. Obviously, everything's on my shoulders. I'm just, the more I think about it, it's like, wow, I was stupid because like the world doesn't rely on me as much as I think it does, or as much as I think it did. Even though I think I still have the same issues where it's like I feel like the world does rely on me, even though they probably don't, like they don't care. I just have the perception, and yeah. So I was like, okay, I can't be emotional because like I can't have my parents worrying about me because like there's already a lot on their plate, and like I can't be another worry on them because they're already doing so much, and like I can't have them do more for me. Um, so at the time, I was like, I was living my life. Everything was okay. Except like my friends were kind of like, "Wow, you really lack empathy. You really you're not empathetic, and and you're just, I don't know, like you're cocky. You're really cocky sometimes. And my ESXP best friend, she would like point that out to me, and for some reason I remember distinctly like this one time where I made a very, very insensitive joke about like dying. Uh, it was, let's just say it was insensitive. And like I laughed at it, and like looking back at it now, it was like, but I think I didn't do it for the reaction, but I did it more for like, look at me, I can make fun of like these serious things. Because I was like, oh, okay, TI, haha, things happen. And like, I think that benefited me to a large extent. Because it was just, yeah, I think it like, the TI really did bring out the natural TI that I have in myself. Because I was like, okay, yeah, I have TI, we Gucci, we good. And I think before this, excuse me, before this, I think it was like under exercise, and then I really like pushed really, really hard on it, and then I was like, okay, well, yeah, your boy is, I don't know. I was just, overall, I'd go around and make like, I don't know, like jokes, and it was just like insensitive. And I still do that, but I think I'm a little more considerate of the people around me, and like I care more about like the tribe, because like I'm now like, okay, I should maybe calm down, I guess some of the things that I still find insensitive, or some of the things that I find funny, can be rather insensitive at times. But, or maybe they are, I don't know. I'm in a new place. People don't tell me things. I think they're insensitive at times. But I think I'm definitely a little bit more cautious than I was before when I was in INTP. But yeah, so that happened, and then my friend was like, no, you're TI. You're cocky sometimes, and this is the INFP friend from way back. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm cocky. And I was like, I don't want to seem like that asshole. So then I actively tried to be less cocky, or actually I didn't actively try, but like somehow my cockiness level decreased quite a bit, because I think like just that it was in my head, I was kind of like working with it. It was like subconsciously kind of reducing it, until this INFP friend was the only friend I could actually like be very emotionally vulnerable with, because I had this persona of myself that I had to keep up with like these other people where I'm like, I'm TI, I'm smart, I don't screw emotions. Excuse me. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. Until your boy hit a breaking point, which was which was like January, and like just, it was bad. My idea of myself, I was like, how does it matter? Because I felt like a lot of understanding MBTI in the beginning stages, at least for me, it was like, it wasn't, oh wow, wait, I think I learned about MBTI like 3.5 years ago. That's so cool. It's been so long, or like 3 years ago. Okay. Yeah. So until like beginning of 2018, I was like, yeah, I'm an INTP, but like that doesn't change who I am as an individual. Like so the type doesn't define me. I define the type, you know? Um, and that was a big realization for me. So I was like, interesting. So you're telling me that if I am not an INTP, I don't automatically start behaving like an INTP? Like, that's crazy. But I think a lot of it was like peacocking. Um, yeah. And then I was like, fuck the types. Like, the types don't matter. Except it wasn't still really, because I was still very like insecure. I was like, I can be a feeler type. Oh my god. I'm sorry for discriminating, but like I was that asshole. Um and then like I hit a breaking point. I was like, fuck, life sucks. It doesn't matter if I'm an INTP or not. This is just who I am. And I think from there, like it was like the fact that I had contained myself as a TI, I can't open up to people person. It got to me because like I don't think I'm someone who's very like, oh, okay, sorry. Just so Shannon talks about how OE, so extroverted deciders, extroverted observers have to share information, and I feel like I am like that. I need to share. I need to talk about things, and yeah, and I couldn't talk about how I was actually feeling because I like did not allow myself to feel things, so I didn't know what I was feeling, and then B, like I was like, who do I talk to about this? Because like I have no one. So then I started journaling. Your boy starts journaling. I discover some really dark thoughts about myself, and then I was like, oh fuck, uh, and like from there, it's almost like for years I trained myself into thinking, and this wasn't like MBTI related, but for years I would just train myself to be like, oh, I'm not emotional, I'm not emotional, I'm not emotional. And then like I hit a breaking point where it was like all I was doing at night was crying, and I would just keep crying and crying and crying until I couldn't cry anymore. And then I'd be like, I don't understand why I'm crying. And then I'd come up with these like any patterns as to why I was crying, and I'd like write down in my journal. I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense, and like that makes sense. But then that was another realization, which was like, making sense is not equal to things being okay. Understanding something is not equal to things fixing themselves, and yeah, like I don't have to know what it, I just have to fix it. And like that has always been like a big issue for me, which is like, in order to do something, I have to know the why as to why I'm doing it. And if I don't see it, and if I still try to do it, I can't. Like I don't like, it's so hard for me to actually do something if I don't see a purpose behind it. So that happened. I broke down. I finally, like, luckily I had friends who I could open up to, and they cared about me. So that was fun. And then from there, I was like, fuck it. I don't care what people think, and I would just start talking to anybody who would talk to me. I'd be like, oh yeah, this was my issue. This was my issue. This is what I went through. Well, not all of it, but parts of it. I just don't care. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what people think about my family. I just don't care. And kind of. and then I started like doubting whether I was even an INTP um, at that point. And then I would like further do some more research, and I was like, who am I really? And I would just like go into a lot of like socionics. I don't know how many times I've taken like so many like personality tests. Um and I think I made like a couple of videos of me being an ENTP, and that transition was kind of hard. Into at least in terms of like the YouTube stuff, because it was like, well, people are not gonna watch me anymore, you know. They came here for the INTP stuff, and they're just gonna unsubscribe, which sucks. But then like I was like, you know, it is what it is. Like I'm not gonna, I can't, like lie to myself and to all of these people, especially, and like give them wrong information, and then like then there are probably going to be like other people who are like me who watch my videos and they're like, oh, I'm INTP, but like there may be some other type. And I was like, I don't think I can, I don't think that's right. Um, and I shouldn't be doing that. So I officially declared that I was not an INTP, I was an ENTP. um, yeah. And then I further went down the path of like ENTP discovery. And then I was still questioning if I am an ENTP, because I was like, so for a long time I was like, okay, I'm definitely an ENTP. Um, but I still wanted to like understand more about myself, just because I'm a narcissist. um, but yeah, so I did more discovery stuff, more research, more trying to learn about who I am. Uh, and then I came across like and then I came across like the functions and stuff. I was like, interesting. So I learned more about the functions, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. It took me a very long time to actually like learn about them, but I would like reference them shortly, like a little bit, a little bit in my videos. So I'd be like, oh, it's maybe because I have FE, and then I started talking. I started interacting with people about this, and I would explain it to my friends who did not give a shit, but like I would still talk about it, and I'd like talk about my theories and like how things connect to other things. Mm, and yeah, and then one day I came across like the OP typing, like very simple, short 4-minute videos, TITEFIFE. I was like, yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what I am. And like then I started going down that rabbit hole where I was like, okay, I really need to understand who I am better. And what I really liked about like those videos, they were like, oh, I also had this like huge like phase of self growth. Like not that I grew, but like I mean, I hope I did. But like I would watch a lot of motivational self helpy people. I would read a lot of books. Um, I was just like I was in that, and I was like just gathering so much about um, why I was the way I was. Really trying to like understand I like that was my question for myself. It's like, who am I? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing for me? What would be the right thing for me to do as like career and as future, you know? What makes me happy? And I watched a lot of Jordan Peterson at the time. I really liked him. I watched David Goggins, Gary Vaynerchuk, um, a little bit of Tony Robbins, Jocko, a lot of like the self-helpy people. 'Cause I was like, I need to grow as an individual, uh, and like I can't. But there was always like this dilemma in my mind. So, hmm, I do need to grow as an individual, but like, where are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Where I don't know. I felt like I didn't know myself enough to even start on that until I started watching some things. They were just like, just do it, YOLO, Nike, um, just get started. Something's better than nothing, and I'm still kind of working on that. But yeah, that was my stream of consciousness. I don't know what the point of that was, but I guess it was my somewhat self growth journey. I don't know how much I've grown. Um, I know that I have a very, very, very long way to go. Uh, but yeah, I think that was like a somewhat, you know, thing. Um, but yeah, that was, I think that's like how and stuff. And then like finally to end or like to conclude where I am right now, like I'm very into the OP typing system, objective personality typing system. Wow, I really spoke for a while. Yeah, but it's in the OP typing system or not. I'm I'm drawn towards the OP typing system because it just makes sense, I think. And it's more than just typing yourself. Like it's more like when you talk about just the way you talk about it, it's like your saviors or your demons, and it's like okay, so when I type myself, I really understand where I need to work on and like things like how I react makes sense. Like why I act sometimes the way I do, why I have these freakouts, why I behaved how I did in the past. Like I think it provides a good explanation for me, which is like why did I do what I did, and it just I don't know, it just makes sense. I think it's like it really helps me understand myself a lot better and why I chose the the choices that I did and how it how it impacted me and like why I am the way I am today, which is and it's just it's not about just the past, it's about like also the future, which is what can I do and how can I work on myself to better myself so that my experience existing as an individual is more rewarding not just to me but like to other individuals. Like also something I learned from Jordan Peterson, which is very like important in my opinion, was that like it's not just about yourself, like it's about how it's the balance between how you make people's lives better and how you make your life better, and you have to have like that kind of mix so that you're satisfied, you know. And I don't know, I think like that's some stuff because it's just, I can't just be living for myself but then I also can't be living for everybody else, and difficult is to like find that balance, which is like I don't know if I'm just going to be living for myself or if I'm going to be living for other people. And also like like it's very hard to describe for me as an any dom. That's what I think I am. Why, like how it affects my life. Like I can tell I'm very bad at organizing and like I'm bad, really, 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 really bad with like schedules and like deadlines and finishing things on time and like that's completely my issue. But like I can see that the reason why I react to some of the things the way I do is not is like is because like it's because of me. It's because it's because like I'm an OE dominant. Like my biggest fear is control, whether that's from people, whether that's from myself sometimes. Like I think sometimes I question things too much just because like I'm scared of the control, you know? But yeah, like I feel like I don't know why describing the whole control versus chaos is difficult for me because it's I think in a way it's like it's hard for me to see it, but when I experience it, it's just it's there. Like I've been almost crying every single night for the past like 3 days because I'm like, why can't I do these set for myself? And it's like, okay, maybe you're setting them too high, but then of course I'm not like sad or anything. I think this is just a part of growth. Um as an individual, it's like, yeah, I'm I'm going to have to deal with these things that I'm not good at and like recognize that and try to try to break it, like try not work my way around it because like I feel like some things I'm gonna have to confront and learn how to deal with them rather than like working around them. um but yeah, I don't know. I feel like so far that's my journey into the personality typology stuff. But yeah, I don't know. That was like a stream of consciousness. This is who I am. Uh, but right now I'm kind of just trying to like understand who I am, like, and how I can improve myself in any way possible. It's like saying things. It's so hard, but just doing them. Hey. Okay. I'm gonna go to the cafe.